Howdy y'all, it's me, Anthony, your sports dietitian, and welcome back to your performance nutrition program for this summer. In this series, we've already covered the basics of nutrition, what you should be eating before, during, and after practice, how the whole sports nutrition concept impacts you as an athlete. But today we're covering some more long-term and specific goals. We're going to cover 6 things today. We're going to talk about the difference between weight and body composition. We're going to talk about different methods for increasing your muscle or decreasing your fat. We've kind of already covered this, but we're going to go over some more detail today. We're going to talk about mapping out a nutrition periodization plan, and all that means is looking at the entire season, including the off season, and how do you set appropriate goals. We'll talk about identifying supplement rules and safety, talking about some supplements that could be beneficial, and then we'll talk as a group about some ways to encourage team nutrition culture. So to look at sports nutrition on a timeline, we have short-term goals and we have long-term goals. We've already talked about the short-term goals in our other videos. Hydration, what to eat before, during, and after training. And all of these things basically affect your energy and your performance for that day. What we're going to be talking about in this video is building muscle, losing fat, and setting those goals appropriately along with the phases of the season so that you can be most competitive exactly where you are and also setting those long-term goals. First concept we're going to talk about is body composition. So body composition is different than weight. Weight is just the number on the scale. It tells you how heavy you are. Body composition is the percentage difference between how much muscle you have and how much body fat you have. That's a very simple way of looking at it. So improving your body composition gives you a better power to weight ratio. So for example, if you have, like 10 pounds less fat, and maybe 10 pounds of extra muscle built into your legs, you're going to be able to run up and down the court faster. You're going to be able to jump higher. Those things are really important to you as an athlete. So we're not just going to pay attention to weight. We also want to make sure that we're building muscle and we're either maintaining or losing fat depending on what time of the season it is. And your dietitian, me, or your strength coach can help you set goals and also assess that for you. It's not something that you're going to be able to do on your own. So with the concept of building muscle in mind, let's look at a long-term plan for putting something like that together. And we call this periodization. It just means that we're going to take up the entire year and we're going to split it up into training blocks. You have your preseason, and that's when you're back in school but before you've started your first game. Your competition season, which is between the first game and the finals, and then the off season, which is going to be after the competition season. It usually rolls into summer and at the end of the semester. So that's how we're going to split it up. Let's talk about what is going to be the best goal for each situation. So first we're going to talk about preseason nutrition, and preseason is where you're going to be doing a lot of high intensity training. Your coach probably has you running a lot of drills, doing lots of running up and down the court, a long practice time, and so that's going to require a high amount of calories. You're going to have to eat, otherwise you're going to lose weight during the preseason. So the first thing we want to do is increase calories, and that's also going to help you build muscle. If you're lifting weights during the preseason, which you should be, you're going to be have the opportunity to build muscle, but the way that you confirm that's going to happen is by eating enough calories along with that. The only reason you should be losing fat or trying to reduce calories in the preseason is if you've come back overweight and you just have some extra weight that you have to lose. And that's really how you want to approach your preseason nutrition in terms of muscle gain or fat loss. And of course, your dietitian and strength coach will help you set an individual goal for those. During the preseason, you may have chosen to gain weight or lose fat depending on what your greater need is at the time. But during the competition season is where you really want to maintain your weight. So your goal should be maintenance. You want to keep yourself in a weight range. Give yourself, maybe 3 to 5 pounds that you can move up or down during the semester, and check your weight every week or every month to make sure that you're not moving too far outside of that range. If you're losing weight unintentionally, you need to up your calories more so you can start gain that weight back and maintain your weight during the season. And if you've been gaining weight accidentally or unintentionally, you need to decrease your calories a little bit. You want to maintain your weight during the competition season. That's what's going to be best for you as an athlete. And also make sure you're still following good nutrition practices, that you're still recovering properly and paying attention to your sleep. There's lots of things that you need to be focusing on, but gaining weight or losing weight is not one of them. So we've covered preseason, we've covered the competition season, now we're talking about the off season. The off season is going to be where you're going to be working a lot more with your strength and conditioning coach. So lifting weights and all of the extra drills are now going to be coming into play. This is a really good time for you to focus on body composition change once again. I would recommend that if you don't have a specific weight loss goal, that you embrace the off season with the opportunity to build muscle and put on some good weight as an athlete. This is also going to help you recover from that long competition season that you had. And if you're already at your target weight, let's say you weigh XYZ pounds and you don't want to go up or down from that. If you're in the off season, I recommend that you slowly do a controlled muscle building phase. Just eat more calories, about 250 more calories, so that you're able to get stronger and build up more muscle. You'll be able to cut back in the preseason or at the end of your off season, but if you have no preference, or if you're at the weight you want to be, go ahead and embrace that muscle building and eat a little bit more. So how do you do it? How do you build muscle? I'm going to give you guys 3 guidelines here. Number 1 is lift weights. Do not try to gain weight and build muscle if you're not in the gym lifting weights. That has to be the base of the pyramid for y'all. Number 2 is you can't build a brick house without bricks. You got to eat more if you want to build muscle. Increase your calories by about 300 to 500 calories per day. Now, we talked about how to do this in other videos, but if you're not sure what 300 to 500 calories looks like, just try one or a combination of these 3 things: either eating bigger meals, increasing your snack intake, maybe go from 1 to 2 to 3 snacks a day, and eating higher calorie foods. Remember, we talked about calorie dense foods. Those are going to be your friend when you're trying to gain muscle. How fast should you gain weight? Well, that's a really good question. Gain about 0.5% to 1% of body weight per week. So for a 150-pound athlete, you can see here on my table, that's going to be around 1 pound per week. If you're around 200 pounds and you're trying to gain muscle, you can gain a little bit faster than that. But anything extremely over that limit is going to be put on as a majority of body fat. So if you're gaining 2 or 3 pounds per week and you only weigh 120 pounds, you may want to back off the throttle a little bit and gain weight at a more steady and slower rate. That will make sure that the majority of the mass that you put on is muscle and you're gaining a minimal amount of body fat. Weight loss isn't much different. It's more or less exactly all that, but the opposite. First is weight training is still needed, even though you won't be building a lot of muscle during a fat loss phase. You want to preserve your muscle, so you'll still need to do some weight training. Number 2 is decrease your calories by about 300 to 500 per day. And so you're going to be eating smaller portions at meals, or less snacking, or lower calorie foods. Those are all good suggestions on being able to lose fat without having to count calories or know how many calories you're eating. And the same sort of guideline is for muscle gain, is that there is a speed limit to fat loss. If you lose fat or lose weight too rapidly, you're going to lose muscle and you're going to probably injure yourself, and that's going to set you back weeks, if not months. So about 1 to 2% of your body weight is going to be the range. 1% is going to be for most cases. So for an athlete that weighs 200 pounds, 2 pounds per week would be an appropriate goal. Now, if a major fat loss goal is needed, you can lose weight a little bit more aggressively, at least for a short period of time. So that same 200-pound athlete could set a goal to lose 3 to 4 pounds per week, but only if you have a large amount of fat that you need to lose. This is not for a 10 or 15 pounds to go goal. This is if you have a long way to go on your fat loss. It is okay to be a little bit more aggressive on that. Once again, this is something that your dietitian or strength coach will guide you in. So while you're doing all this and setting a goal, it's probably a good idea to monitor your weight. Now remember that weight isn't the same as measuring your muscle, but it's still a good measurement that you can do consistently. Your weight is going to fluctuate daily. I want you to look at the trend over the course of the weeks on what's happening to your weight. And of course, don't expect your weight to change or you to get the progress that you want if you're not doing the habits that you need to do and being consistent with those. So here's some special considerations that are outside of the realm of what we just talked about, but we do need to bring them up. First is if you are redshirting, now is a great time to talk with your strength coach and set some developmental goals. There's certainly going to be either some muscle building or some fat loss goals in there. Number 2, if you are injured and you're not able to play right now, I really want you to focus on weight maintenance. Try not to gain a bunch of weight while you're injured, but also try not to aggressively lose weight. And there's still a lot that you can probably do. Just talk with your athletic trainer. Maybe if your knee's injured, you can focus on upper body training. Try to think positively about it. There's always a way that you can train. And finally, if you're experiencing disordered eating or a lot of body image anxiety, you need to talk to your sports dietitian. For Tennessee Tech, that's going to be me, before engaging in any sort of diet modification. Don't set goals on yourself and try to count calories or, any of the thing that we talked about. If you feel like you're going to get obsessive about it or it's going to give you a lot of anxiety or you're already feeling that about your body image and your weight, come talk to the dietitian and the counselors first. I'm not saying that we're not going to help you reach your goals. There just needs to be a different way that we need to approach this.